Hey, J-Bone Nation! Shaming of Jay. He's not a dopey dumb bitch. He gets laid. The court jester. The court DJ. It's time to dive into the case. To the case.
What is up, everybody? Thanks for being here on my alt channel, J-Bone Nation. And I figured I'd start off by giving a little intro to who I am, even though probably everyone in here knows who I am. But this is a new channel, and people on replay might not know. Anyway, I'm Jay. I normally stream on the Shaming of Jay channel at the Shaming of Jay. And I started this alt channel because I once was monetized on YouTube. They took my money away from me. And on that channel, I don't know if I'll ever be monetized. Now, I'm also on Kick too, kick.com, kick.com, where I can get memberships, and I'm kind of monetized. The issue is YouTube, as much as I hate YouTube, it's the biggest game in town. And what Kick doesn't have that YouTube has on a channel you can get monetized are stickers, memberships, and generally speaking, I think it's easier for people who are not too familiar with YouTube on how to donate, give stickers, become members, that type of stuff. And basically, I started streaming true crime about 7-8 months ago. I think March 27th was when I put my 2 weeks at my job, which was a bodily injury adjuster, where I handled car insurance claims. And I put my 2 weeks in. I took money out of my 401k, and I started a freaking YouTube true crime channel, if you could believe that. I had tweeted during the Murdaugh trial, and it had gone somewhat successful. And so anyway, that's where we are. And now I am just kicking and scratching and trying to figure out the best way to monetize this. And so anyway, that's me. And this is J-Bone Nation channel. And right today, what I want to stream is what came out during the Charlie Adelson trial that to me screams that Donna Adelson, Grandma Gotti, she is the head of this. She is the one that planned all this for Dan Markel to get killed. In my opinion, she's the mastermind, except she's a dumb mastermind. She's dumb Corleone. I can't stand her. Whenever I see her face, it disgusts me almost as much as when I see Wendy or Charlie. These fucking people couldn't just handle a divorce. It didn't go their way. Their whole lives, they've been privileged and had everything go their way. They had money. They had influence. So much so to the effect that they thought they could get away with murder. And I'm pretty sure they still thought that until Charlie got indicted. And then last week, Charlie was guilty of conspiracy for murder, because he's a murderer. And so is Donna. And so is Wendy, in my opinion. And Harvey's in there too. So I kind of took some notes from the trial last week, the last couple of weeks, some timestamps to kind of put it in a little... Why Donna? Because, I mean, if I was on the jury during that trial, my question would be, why is Donna Adelson not here? Why is she not on trial? Because this is, to me, it's very clear the dumb mastermind of this case is Donna Adelson. This was because she couldn't take, that they lost in the divorce hearings, that they couldn't move. So this was her birthday gift for her husband. So let's start with, so hold on one second here. Let's start with Donna's emails. So this is actually from the closing, I believe. This is from the closing and the trial. So hold on one second here. Let's take a look at the closing here. This is an email that Donna sends to Wendy. Donna sends this email to Wendy, and it's not an email, it's a manifesto in my part. So let's just play a little bit of this here about the email. This is on May 3rd, 2013. For those who don't know, Dan Markel was shot on July 18th, 2014, and ultimately died on July 19th, 2014, after he fought for 14 hours. So here we go. Well, here's a little bit of this email that that Donna sent to Wendy.
This litigation and in Wendy's life in general. They revealed that relocation was a huge priority for Donna, and that it was also a high priority for Wendy, Harvey, and the defendant as well. Wendy testified that her mom really wasn't that involved in her divorce proceedings.
So did you hear that? Wendy testifies, no, my mom, she testified when she was on the stand, because Wendy's a liar. She's just a lying piece of shit. So when she's like, my mom wasn't really involved in my divorce proceedings. Well, what does this email say?
Again, these emails prove the opposite was true. On May 3rd, 2013, this email references Dan's divorce filing as, quote, his 23-page rant. She then crystallizes the importance of relocation, stating, the most important part of your divorce is relocation, in bold. I sincerely hope that your attorney understands this is your, all caps, non-negotiable. She needs to hear from you how serious you are about this and how it will benefit the children with a close-knit family support system, as well as your significantly better paying job. But on June 21st, 2013, Wendy's motion to relocate was denied by the court, with the court finding that the wife has not met her burden of proof.
Yeah, so Wendy wants to move. She files a petition to relocate with her kids to be by her parents and brother, and the judge says no.
That a relocation is in the best interest of the minor children. Like the heroine in her book, Wendy and the boys were officially stuck in this small stop on the way to what we had previously known as civilization. Wendy worked hard to try to convince you that none of this was a very big deal to her, her mother, or her brother. And she said she was expecting to win everything in the divorce. She was expecting Danny to lose everything in the divorce. She was partly right. Danny did end up losing everything, but not in court. She had already lost relocation, and her attorney had to get off the case as a result of whatever Danny was filing in court. And he was poised to really take her through the ringer with this grandma motion, the fraud allegation, and the contempt motion that was all pending. Even if he wasn't going to be successful, folks, it was going to be a very unpleasant ride for Wendy Adelson. But as we have learned, gibbers hadn't beaten the Adelson family yet. On the stand, Wendy Adelson suggested that relocation was not a big issue for her. It was just suggested by a friend, but the other evidence in the case suggests the opposite. Jeffrey Lacoste said she was a complete mess over the litigation, especially the relocation. She wrote a book about a human rights attorney who was stuck in a small town in the Florida Panhandle because of her hapless Canadian professor husband's job.
Yeah, so Wendy wrote a fucking book where she's stuck in her life, basically, because of her hapless Canadian husband. What is Dan Markel? Where is he from originally? Canada.
Wendy, quote, "It's time for action. It's time to take control of your life and not let Jibbers think he's won anything by having you remain in Tallahassee, 8 hours away from the only family you have. Let's show this F blank 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 what will make him absolutely miserable. And later, the rest of your life, and consequently, Dad's, mine, and yes, even Charlie's, will be affected by how well you can perform/act before July 31st. You can be a good actress when you want to. I've seen you in action. You need to put on the performance of your life. Jibbers hasn't beaten the Adelson family yet."
Jibbers was the nickname the Adelsons gave Dan Markel because they're assholes. And it was a nickname that they didn't like him. They pretended like it was just this nickname.
Then on June 25th, this is continued.
All right, so let's take a look at this. This is June 25th. This is Donna Adelson emailing Wendy again. Just more. Take photos of the boys standing at the front door or by the sign of Atala. This is her plan of action, as you can see here. Please read. Very important. Now, they're Jewish, and she says, take photos of the boys standing at the front door or by the sign of a Tallahassee church. Then change your Facebook status photo to this one so everyone will see this. Perhaps a line under the photo with "New Beginnings in Tallahassee." Make arrangement for the boys to get caught up with a private tutor, teenage Catholic church member, who will come to the house to teach young men about Jesus. This is a grandma. This is Grandma Gotti. This is Grandma Gotti trying to tell her daughter what she should do to fuck with Dan Markel so that they can win.
Continued that same email. We get a plan of action. Take a photo.
How happy do you think he will be? I will happily do it for you. This is a grandma, folks. You think this is, I mean, what the fuck?
Let Jibbers know that your children will be baptized in the Catholic Church, and you'll certainly invite him to the event. I've already checked this out, and the baptism can be arranged within 2 weeks. We can send out evites to Jibbers, his parents, sister, and anyone else you want to invite. 4, I'm looking into summer camp programs for the boys. We will pay for it, even if the boys end up only going for the few days that they're in Tallahassee with you. 5, register them for toddler classes at the church. I've looked into this too. Even if they don't actually go, we can show Jibbers that they are enrolled for the fall semester. And you cannot tell anyone this is an act. Take control from him. Get to him psychologically. He's going to want you to stop this. You have one final opportunity to make him angry. We want him ticked off so he realizes that he could lose control over his kids. We plan to make a financial offer to him to allow this relocation. You need to work this plan, and we'll help you through it so that it may affect how much we offer him. Maybe he's willing to let you relocate if he knew his children could attend this private Hebrew academy. Or perhaps he'd like them to invite him to a Christmas party at their other Sunday school. Let's get this going now. I know you would never want to think that you didn't do absolutely everything you could to come down to your family. Dad and I have changed our lives this year to support.
So just to take also a second back to reflect, not only did this family have Dan Markel murdered, but just think about the time, take a step back to think about, Dan and Wendy were married for a little bit and then they got divorced, right? Can you imagine how Donna, Harvey, and can you imagine having Donna, Harvey, and Charlie as your fucking in-laws? Just this is while they're married still. Can you imagine the shit they must have gave Dan while they were still married? and then they got divorced. And can you imagine? I mean, this is the shit they're doing after they got divorced. Like, Dan had to be getting emails about this shit all the time. This is unhinged. And then, of course, ultimately they murder the man. But just imagine, just before he's even murdered, the shit that he had to deal with these fucking lunatics.
You and assist you and the boys in every possible way. Charlie has accepted the loss in the office business income for us to do this because he loves you and wants only the best possible future for you. It's time for you to show us that you can put on the performance of your life for the next few weeks. And then, on June 27th, she follows up with another email along the same line.
Here we go. Here's when I think the wheels really start going. Obviously, the court isn't out to help you. It's clear since Judge Hobbs, since the last ruling, that she could care less about anything you had to say in your behalf. You need to help yourself. And it should be couldn't, you fucking idiot. Donna, couldn't.
Criticizing the judge and Wendy's attorney and adding, obviously the court isn't out to help you. It's clear since Judge Hobbs' last ruling that she could care less about anything you had to say on your behalf. You need to help yourself. You know, Wendy, most of the wars that have been fought for the last couple of thousand years have been fought over religion. These emails are such telling glimpses into the family dynamics behind this murder. This email is just an example of how relentless Donna Adelson was. And it's clear from these
And for those that watched the trial, this is when this gentleman in the back decided to take a little snoozle.
Emails that she's conferring with the defendant on these plans that she's proposing. Charlie brought up a good point when he said that Americans were dropped behind enemy lines during World War II wearing Nazi uniforms to get what they wanted. They had a job to get done, and they did what they needed to accomplish it. You have a job to get done in a very short time frame to accomplish it. If you dressed the kids up in Hitler Youth uniforms and brought them down here, I could care less if it was an act of defiance that would show Jibbers that he's not in control.
Are you fucking hearing that? Donna Adelson, Jewish grandmother. Hey, just like Charlie said, have the kids wear Hitler. I could care less if the kids wear Hitler Youth uniforms as long as we win this thing. Wear the Hitler Youth. I don't care. We got to do whatever we can do to win this because I'm Grandma Gotti, dumb Corleone.
Why not stand up to this fucker? Why not fight? That's all this is, Wendy, an act of defiance that will put a scare into this jackass. It will infuriate him. You need to see the big picture. You need to look into the future of what a life without your only family nearby teaching in Tallahassee with Danny always in the picture will give you. It's not a pretty picture. Not everything one has to do in life is comfortable or easy. The extremism that Jibbers is already teaching the boys is nothing more than brainwashing. Religion is brainwashing, control of the masses. I don't think you realize the type of offer we're considering.
I don't think you realize the type of offer we're considering. I mean, I could almost think of another of a movie about the mafia. Make him an offer he can't refuse. Does that sound familiar? This is mafia shit by this fucking dumb Corleone.
We're planning on you, Charlie, Dad, and I going as high as equal parts in a $1 million offer. That's $333,000 from each of us. We're a team. We can't do this without your help. You've already lost relocation according to the legal system. Well, it is about winning and losing. We're trying to get a win. You deserve it. You deserve so much more than a life without family teaching in Tallahassee.
So she's also delusional and dumb because she really fucking thought that if they went to Dan Markel with $1 million, he'd be like, sure, here's my kids.
Even though the divorce was final on July 31st, 2013, the anger and bitterness associated with this split was still festering. Litigation continued and even increased as both parties filed motions over the next several months alleging that the other was violating the marital settlement agreement, and both parties seeking to have the other side held in contempt of court. In October of 2013, Wendy filed a motion to enforce the marital settlement agreement and have Dan held in contempt. And Dan was hearing, and the defendant was hearing about all of this as it went on from his mother, as indicated in the emails and in the...
All right, here's where dumb Corleone, Grandma Gotti, starts texting Charlie and starts getting in his head, hey, Charlie, your dad's getting sick here. Your dad's getting sick. What are we going to do? I can't even explain. Horrible evening for your sister and for us. Bad. It's Donna's telling Charlie, hey, bad. This is a bad thing for our family. What are we going to do, Charlie? This is where Donna starts getting the wheels in motion.
The text messages shown here as well. Here she's telling him how terrible things are for Wendy and how it's negatively affecting his dad's health. Then later that month, when Wendy was about to make the second dumbest mistake of her life after marrying Dan Markel by buying a house in Tallahassee, Charlie says Wendy probably hasn't mentioned it to him because it's stupid. And then after he gets Wendy to pull the plug on the house, he's praised as the miracle worker that solved this problem. This text was sent on Halloween of 2013, the very day that Catherine Magdanola testified. This defendant broached the subject to her of, hey, do you know anybody that could rough somebody up?
All right, so let's just take a step back here, folks. Here is her. Oh, I wish this was not paused right there. Here is her texting Grandma Gotti telling Charlie, we got to do something. Then she's pissed because Wendy's going to buy a house in Tallahassee. That's not good for her. She wants them to move by them. She's buying a house. Charlie, what are we going to do? Wendy is buying a house. What does Charlie do? Per Katie Magdanola, the co-conspirator, on October 31st, Halloween, which you would think if you're Katie Magdanola would be a good, you'd remember that date because it's a specific time. That's when Charlie went up to her and said, hey, do you know someone that could do something for me? I got a problem that needs to get fixed here, aka I need someone to get killed. That's when Charlie, on Halloween, Charlie talks to Katie, and Katie's like, oh, well, yeah, my fucking, the father of my kids, he would do some bad shit. And then Charlie texts his mom and says, hey, just talk to Wendy. She pulled the plug on the house. Why would Wendy pull the plug on the house on that day? Why would she pull it? What did Charlie tell Wendy? I mean, was it after he spoke to Katie Magdanola and they said they could do something about Dan Markel? Interesting timing that she pulled the plug on the house.
At Halloween of 2013, defendant could rough somebody up. Regular at Wendy's attorney and stressed out Wendy is. That's on February 15th of 2013.
All right, so remember that the wheels really start getting set in motion October 31st, 2013. That's when Katie tells Charlie she knows someone that can get this done. They can get rid of the problem the Adelsons have, that is Dan Markel.
2014. And here's another text from Donna Adelson to Charlie Adelson 4 days later, discussing the details of Danny's actions and expressing how much she hates him.
If you speak to Wendy today, tread lightly. Don't ask questions about the depot, her lawyers, etc. Tough time, and she's really stressed out. The asshole showed up at soccer yesterday, and when she tried to leave with the boys, he said, no, stay here and play with Abba. She to the boys that Abba had to leave, and he said, no, I don't. Of course, she woke up to another email from him telling her what she is lying to the boys about their father's whereabouts, and that this will be brought before the court. So, yeah, they're at soccer, and they're still fucking with Dan at a soccer game.
Planning to speak in private with the defendant while she's at the rest stop in Gainesville.
Okay, here's the thing. So this is on March 4th, 2014. I can't talk now, but I'll text you before we stop in Gainesville where I can go to the bathroom and have a moment of privacy. Then I'll call. Please pick up. I have very limited alone time today. Erase this text. Erased this text. So why would she tell Charlie to erase the text? If she's, if this is supposedly to plan a birthday for Harvey, right? That's the deal. Why would she tell Charlie to erase his text? Charlie is not with Harvey at this time. Donna should erase her text. Why would Charlie have to erase his text? And by the way, if you're telling someone to erase their text, I mean, what are you hiding? What are you hiding, Grandma Gotti?
She asked him to delete this message after he reads it. Although he's not with Harvey, and Harvey nor his birthday are mentioned in this text message. All that's mentioned in this text message is, I'm going to pull over at a rest stop and talk to you in private. This is the grandma motion. On March 26, 2014, less than 4 months prior to this murder, the defendant files his grandma motion, the counter motion for enforcement of marital settlement agreement on parenting issues, and motion for contempt and sanctions. Again, alleging that Wendy is not facilitating communication between he and the kids and getting after Donna personally. In this filing, Dan Markel alleges that on 3 separate occasions in November of 2013, the children informed him of their maternal grandmother, Donna Adelson, disparaging him. The boys indicate that, quote, Grandma says you're stupid. She says you are trying to take her sunshines away from her. And, quote, Grandma says she hates you. Dan Markel requests the court, quote, enjoin the former wife from allowing the maternal grandmother to have unsupervised time with the children, and to impose appropriate limitations to safeguard the children from being subjected to disparaging comments about their father. Contrary to what Wendy Adelson told us, we learned this issue was taken seriously by both sides, and that Dan Markel was particularly hot at the time of his death because of some recent issues that were going on. So to the extent that there was any banana bread peace offering made, it apparently fell short of diffusing the issues within this family. This situation was a pressure cooker, and it was about to blow. As we learned, this grandma motion was never decided by the court because Dan Markel was murdered before it could be heard.
Man, oh man, Donna didn't want to go to court, huh? For that grandma motion? They had to get this shit done before the grandma motion was heard, didn't they? And by the way, if you were watching this closing statement and you couldn't see who was at the defendant table, would you think this is a trial against fucking Charlie? Or what did you think this is a trial against Donna?
Whether or not that is a coincidence in timing is up to you all to decide. Wendy told you that she and Dan were getting along pretty well at the time leading to the evidence to you all, that she took all of this very seriously, that she became upset every time there was a filing, and that her behavior became increasingly emotional and erratic as the time led. closer into Lacoste, she was especially concerned about the relocation issue.
Yeah, Jeff Lacoste, Wendy's boyfriend at the time, said the relocation, major problem for them.
Told us that Markel was irate at the time of his death over two issues. The first being Wendy enrolling one of the kids in a school without consulting him, and the second one being him overhearing Donna Adelson refer to him as stupid on a recent Skype visit that he had with the boys. So this was far from the peaceful situation that Wendy was trying to sell you. Why was she trying to sell you that? Was she trying to protect her brother? She even told law enforcement at her interview on the day of the murder that she wanted everyone held accountable for this to the fullest extent of the law, unless it was her family.
Yes, if you haven't seen, if you haven't seen when Wendy goes in for her interrogation, she says, that's literally what she says, guys. She says, I would want anyone who's involved in this punished to the full extent of the law. Unless it was my family, then, I don't know, IDK. If it was my family, they don't have to follow the law. It's my family. Why would they have to follow the law?
The defense seems to be telling you the litigation between Danny and Wendy was not a very big deal because minimizing the litigation minimizes the motive for the Adelson family to want Dan Markel dead. They even called Wendy's attorney to tell you that relocation was a lost cause. But what she actually said was, yes, I lose most of these motions, but in this case, I actually thought there was a chance because of some of the surrounding circumstances. Then I thought, well, maybe they called her to say the divorce was routine, but what she actually said was this case was odd. That was her word. Mainly because Dan Markel came after her personally, forcing her to withdraw from the case, which had never happened before. So what her testimony proved was that this was not a routine, run-of-the-mill divorce proceeding. It was one of her more difficult cases. And she didn't even have Donna in her ear like the defendant did. So the motive was clearly there. The question then becomes, was the defendant successful in distancing himself from that motive in your eyes as jurors? He says that the litigation had no impact on his life.
All right, so this is more about Charlie now, but that was some of what I wanted to show you about Grandma Gotti. So additionally, I have the text. I want to make sure we got all the text. I have them all time-stamped. So let's just make sure we got all the texts in here.
786 caller leaving a voicemail on Harvey.
Oh, and let's talk about this text. On July 1st.
July 1st of 2014.
Okay. And what was the duration of the call?
The duration was 37 seconds.
Sorry, phone call.
This
was a phone call. Hold on, let me rewind this. I was a little ahead of where I wanted to be. This is a phone call, folks. July 1st, 2014. Remember, Dan was shot July 18th. This was a phone call on July 1st, 2014. Let's see who it's between.
It looks like 3 events here. It's actually only 1 call. And this is something that we see in the records. There are a number of routing events that happen when the call is received. And in this case, there's an indication it was routed to voicemail. So that routing shows up as multiple events in the record. So while it looks like more, it is actually only a single phone call.
And what date was this call
Again,
on?
July 1st of 2014.
Okay. And what was the duration of the call?
The duration was 37 seconds.
So that was the time from the time the call connected to the time the call ended?
That's correct.
Okay. Could that be consistent with the 786 caller leaving a voicemail on Harvey Adelson's phone?
It could be, yes. All we know is that it was connected for 37 seconds, and there is the indicator of routing to voicemail.
Okay. Was there any other communication in the phone records between this 786 number and Harvey Adelson besides this one call, this one 37-second call?
There was not.
And who did the 786 number belong to?
Who was it?
The 786 number belonged to Mr. Sigfredo Garcia.
Sigfredo Garcia leaves what the length of a voicemail for Harvey Adelson. July 1st, 2014. Again, Dan was shot on July 18th. How the fuck would Sigfredo Garcia have his phone number? How would Sigfredo have Harvey Adelson's phone number? And you're telling me Harvey's getting a call from Sigfredo or a voicemail, and you're telling me that him and Donna and Wendy aren't involved? You're telling me that?
Number was consistent with being at Premier Gym at the same time of the victim, and that number having this 37-second call on July 1st to Harvey Adelson is what brought him to the forefront.
One way, yes.
Okay. And was Sigfredo Garcia linked to Charlie Adelson?
He was, yes.
Can you show us how?
I mean,
So,
we know
again,
we know. I mean, we knew before this trial that Charlie was involved, right? And he was convicted, so the jury thought Charlie was involved, right? But now today we're talking about what are the next steps, and why is Grandma Gotti going down, and then Harvey, and then Wendy.
The main analysis that we do with phone records is what we call a frequency report, or just a simple report that tells us.
So my next timestamp is 7:53. So let's see. Now these folks, these slides to me are everything. These slides to me are what are going to convict Donna at the very least. These slides are so compelling, folks.
One and immediately calls the other. That could be something that stands out to investigators.
Yes.
Okay. And then is another, I guess, detail in the communications, maybe calling a number that they might not ordinarily call?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So if you could walk us through the communications that we see, as you said, on like the night that the first physical act of this murder is occurring, during this first trip to Tallahassee where this car is being rented.
This is on the first trip. If you're not familiar with this case, the hitman made 2 trips to kill Dan Markel. And the first trip they came back because Tato, Luis Rivera, was not going to kill Dan Markel because he was with his kids. So they went back. So this is, watch these messages, watch this slide that shows the correspondence between the Adelsons and the people that did this murder on the first trip down.
So again, to help kind of visualize the calls, we can look at our subjects.
That's stupid-ass Wendy underneath my logo, which would just be the Law and Crime logo. So it's not like I'm hiding anything, but also who wants to see her dumb face anyway, unless you took enough blood pressure medication. This is, all right, so here we go.
And then look at our communications. So we already mentioned the 8:57 call where Mr. Adelson calls in to Ms. Bagbanawa, just over a minute. We have the next call at 9:17 p.m. This was the 27 or 25-minute phone call that we talked about.
And that's on while she's on the way back from Comfort to her home?
That's correct.
Okay.
And so in this relatively short time frame, we're also kind of keeping track up here on this one at the top, how much, kind of the total time of communications that we have. So again, at 9:31, Wendy Adelson texts Harvey Adelson. The phone call we already talked about from Mr. Adelson to the Adelson residence for 25 minutes. Catherine Bagbanawa then communicating with Mr. Garcia. Mr. Garcia back to Ms. Bagbanawa. Harvey Adelson calls Charlie Adelson. This is 10:16, and that's a 5-minute phone call, a little over 5 minutes. Charlie Adelson calls back for a little over 3 minutes. Ms. Bagbanawa is communicating with Mr. Garcia again, and then Mr. Adelson for another 23-minute phone call. And then text messages from Mr. Garcia, or call and then text from Mr. Garcia to Ms. Bagbanawa. To about an hour and 25 minutes of communication between our parties in this time frame.
Okay.
More here, 11:05, short calls or a 27-second call, and then a 4-minute phone call from Ms. Magbanowa to Mr. Garcia. Again, communication from Mr. Garcia back to Ms. Magbanowa. And that was the last.
All right, we saw a call from Charlie Adelson. You mentioned it.
All right, so let's just go back a second. These are all the calls on that first day. Look at all these calls at 11 p.m. Charlie's calling Katie. Katie's calling Sigfredo. Sigfredo's calling Katie. She's calling Charlie. And who's Charlie calling? The Adelsons, his parents. These arrows, these slides, in my opinion, are why the rest of the family's going down. It doesn't make sense that they weren't all involved.
All right, we saw a call from Charlie Adelson. You mentioned it.
All right, let's see what my next timestamp is. 7:56. Oh, I think it's right here.
At Charlie Adelson, his parents.
We looked at, again, for all the records that we had for Mr. Adelson and our analytical.
All right, guys. So this is the slide showing when Charlie calls his parents, right? 3,868 contacts, or 99.3% of the time, he calls them on their cell phone. 28 contacts, or 0.07%, he calls them on his landline. And when does he do that? He does that during the times he's also talking to the co-conspirators. And why? Because he figures if he calls the landline, they're not listening to his phone. If anyone's listening or can get the records, they're not listening if it's on a landline as opposed to his cell phone. So out of his contacts between, as you can see the slide here, his contacts from May 2014 through March 2016, almost 2 complete years, he calls 99.3% of the time, he calls them on their cell phone. But wait, when it's time during the hits, when they're setting this up, what number is he calling? Their landline. Their landline. Why? Because he knows he thinks if someone's listening, they're not going to get me on the landline.
Software is able to kind of tally up for us how many communications are with the cell phones, the combined cell phones of Mr. Harvey and Ms. Donna Adelson, compared to their landline or their home phone. And again, we know that events kind of make multiple records, and so we know that it may not be exactly 3,868 calls, but not all calls are completed, all of those. But statistically, we can see that there were only 28 contacts or attempted contacts between Mr. Adelson's cell phone and the Adelson residence, compared to a significantly greater number to the cell phones.
So you said 99.3% of his communication is with his parents' cell phones as opposed to the 0.7% of time he calls the landline.
That's correct.
All right. And are there actually, you said 28 contacts or 0.07%. Those 28 contacts, those are from May of 2014 through March of 2016, almost 2 years. There's only 28 contacts total.
That's correct.
And this is one of them that happened that night.
Yes.
And that was at a time, also in that call flurry you just showed us, there were calls where there was a long duration of a call to Harvey Adelson's cell phone as well, too, right?
Yes.
Are you familiar, I want to talk a little bit more about this landline call before we move on. Are you familiar with statements by Charlie Adelson on the wiretap, where Charlie Adelson tells people who call him on his cell phone that he'll call them back on a landline?
Yes.
As somebody who's familiar with technical operations of law enforcement and wiretapping, is there a perception whether it be wrong or right, but is there a perception that talking on a landline phone is safer than talking on a cell phone as far as who can listen in or whether law enforcement can listen in?
Yes, I believe there is.
All right, so let me check my next tag here, 758. So 804, that's the next thing I have here. Let's see. All right.
You can see that there are a number of events from the 2nd through the 5th.
Okay. Did Charlie Adelson contact Catherine McBanois a number of times during this trip to Tallahassee?
Yes.
Wait, I went a little too far.
Did Luis Rivera's handset end up traveling back down to the Miami area?
It did, yes. Immediately after that, we can see that the handset, again, just looking at the cell sites, would be consistent with traveling back down to the South Florida area that afternoon and evening of June 5th of 2014.
So this is when they're driving down the first time. This is Luis Rivera's
did you look at
phone.
the records to see what the communication is?
So this is when they're driving down the first time. Communication during the June trip to Tallahassee. So look at all the names here, folks. Katie McBanowa, Charlie Adelson, Wendy Adelson, Katie McBanowa, Charlie Adelson. And we're going to go to one of those slides again. And here it is. Here it is on that trip.
I contacted Ms. McBanowa 10 times in this time frame.
What about Catherine McBanois to Charlie Adelson?
7 times.
And what about Catherine McBanois and Sigfredo Garcia?
12 times.
What about Sigfredo to Catherine McBanois?
5 times.
What about Charlie Adelson and Donna Adelson?
5 times.
What about Donna Adelson to Charlie Adelson?
2 times.
What about Wendy Adelson to Donna Adelson?
2 times.
What about Wendy Adelson to Harvey Adelson?
1 time.
And what about contacts to Wendy Adelson to the Harvey and Donna landline?
We have 1 contact there.
Okay. And what about Wendy Adelson and Charlie Adelson?
We have Charlie and Harvey 1 time.
Okay.
We have Wendy and Charlie 1 time. Harvey and Donna 1 time. Ms. McBanowa to Mr. Rivera 1 time.
And was that at his number he had in July of 2014, or was that an old number for him?
That was an old number for him.
Is that number, though, listed as Tato in her phone?
It is, yes.
Okay. But it wasn't working at the time of, or for the call detail records we have his new number.
That's correct.
Okay. So he had a new number at the time, even though she's calling an old number and not getting in touch with him.
That's correct.
Gotcha. Okay. And what about Luis Rivera and Sigfredo Garcia?
So again, they're all contacting you. Look at these arrows. You think this is just coincidence? I don't think so, and I don't think a fucking jury's going to think so. This whole fucking Adelson dumb clan is involved with this shit.
We do see one.
Not just Charlie.
As well.
Okay. What can you tell us about the location of the rental vehicle that day?
Locations for the vehicle, it was not constant tracking, but we were provided with another location that was at
July 15th, which is in that date range.
15th would have been, I believe, the first rental vehicle.
So the Prius?
Or second rental vehicle, sorry.
Okay, so the Prius was rented on July 15th?
Yes.
All right,
Okay.
so now we're getting closer
and
to
then on
the
July
murder.
16th, that was the date that they traveled to Tallahassee?
Yes,
This
Okay.
is when they're
Garcia
driving
Rivera,
down.
I mean.
that's correct.
And
July
on the
15th.
18th is when Dan Markel was murdered.
Correct.
Where was Wendy Adelson when this text message was sent?
So looking at her cell sites, we can see that she is in South Florida at this time. That text was sent, we see here, around 10:49.
All right, folks. All right, let's take a step back here. This is July 6th. Let's take a step back. So the beginning of June is the first time the hitmen go down. Luis, Sigfredo, they come back. They can't do it, right? The beginning of June. They come back. They can't do it. He has his kids Tato won't do it. So, this is July 6th. This is July 6th. And just listen to when this is about. And remember, the murder was July 18th. So just listen to this testimony.
10:47 to 10:49 is the AM, is the text exchange. 10:14 is the closest event that we have with cell site location for her. And we can see the location of the icon, which was the residence of Mr. Harvey and Donna Adelson at that time.
So Harvey and Donna Adelson lived in a...
So, let's go back. Where is Wendy when she's on July 6th? On July 6th, 12 days before Dan Markel is shot in the face, where is Wendy Adelson when she's texting Dan Markel to find out, are you in Tallahassee July 14th and 18th? I just want to know if I can have the kiddos on the 16th. So Wendy needs to, right here, is trying to confirm that Dan Markel is going to be that weekend where he's murdered. Wendy is confirming that Dan's going to be there when she's at her parents' house.
Exchange. 10:14 is the closest event that we have with cell site location for her. And we can see the location of the icon, which was the residence of Mr. Harvey and Donna Adelson at that time.
So Harvey and Donna Adelson lived in a condo in the Icon building?
Yes.
At that time? Okay. Where was Charlie Adelson, the defendant, when that text message was sent?
So we have location information for him in the early morning hours of the 6th at 12:30 a.m. and the next event being at 11:46 a.m. Both of those are consistent with the proximity to Ms. Magbano's residence. Again, we don't have an event exactly at the time of that text message.
Now, July 6, 2014, was that a weekend day, a Saturday or a Sunday, I believe?
I believe it was, yes.
Was that weekend the weekend of Harvey Adelson's birthday at the Adelson residence?
Yes.
Did you hear that? Do you remember the birthday present? This was the date of his birthday when they were celebrating it. Wendy is at her parents' house. She's texting Dan Markel to find out where Dan's going to be that weekend he's murdered on Harvey's birthday. Remember, there's a birthday present? You remember that?
Did Charlie Adelson also go to his parents' home at the Icon on that day that this message was sent?
He did, yes. For events.
So where did Charlie go? Here is Charlie Adelson. Here's where his phone pings initially on that date. Where is it? At Katie's house. So early on, he's at Katie's house.
Was, yes.
Was that weekend the weekend of Harvey Adelson's birthday at the Adelson residence?
Yes.
Did Charlie Adelson also go to his parents' home at the Icon on that day that this message was sent?
He did, yes. For events starting
So he
about
goes
12:28 in the afternoon.
He
of that
goes
date
from Katie's.
through,
He goes down to the
9.
birthday.
All of
And
his,
now
communication
Charlie
events are connecting to
is
cell
down
sites
at
in
his
that
parents
area of the
after they have confirmed the date and time where Dan Markel is going to be. I mean, come on, folks. Come on.
All right, so now I want to go forward to the July trip to Tallahassee. Can you walk us through? Well, I want to talk about the location information surrounding the trip to Tallahassee that took place that week of July 14th that we saw referenced in the text message before. Whose phone records did you have location information for the July trip?
As far as those traveling, we had location for both Mr. Garcia and Mr. Rivera.
Okay, so before we had only Rivera, but now we've got both for the July trip.
That's correct.
Okay, was it a similar
All right, let me go to my
situation?
next.
Yes. So we see communication here between Ms. Magbano, 44 minutes and 17 seconds.
And so you said...
Let's go back a little bit.
All right, can you walk us through the communication between all of these players the day that this car was rented and right afterwards.
So this is when they rent the car. This is when they're renting the car. Let's just take, I don't have to show the whole thing. You get the idea, folks. This is when they're renting the car. Look at all, I'm just going to look at all these arrows, folks, when they're renting the car. Donna to Harvey, Harvey to Charlie, Charlie to Katie, Katie to Sigfredo. Come on, folks. Come on. And then just wait till we don't have to, this is them actually renting the car, but, you know, it's just continued proof that they're all contacting. All right, now we're getting to the date of the murder. July. Well, this is 1 and 2 days before the murder. Look at all those contacts. Charlie, Donna, Catherine, Charlie, Wendy. So let's go to the next slide. Oh, this is the couple days beforehand. Again, look at Charlie to Donna. Look at these. These are not coincidences. These are planning. These are murder planning phone calls. These are phone calls. All right, what day is this?
12:30, Ms. Magbanowa calls Mr. Adelson back. 53 seconds.
This is the actual
There's an
day,
outgoing
folks.
call at 1:02. It does not really have a duration, but there is an
1 in the morning, folks. Weird that Charlie's calling his mom at 1 in the morning at the same time he's calling Katie and Katie's calling the hitman. These are murder planning phone calls.
That's at 1:02 a.m.
1 in the morning.
What does he do now?
Donna's up at 1 in the
And
morning.
then at 1:03, immediately
Calls Catherine.
after, there is the outbound call to Ms. Magbanowa for almost 20 minutes.
All right. So now if we can go to the next day, July 18th.
This is the day, folks. I mean, that was 1 in the
the day
morning,
Dan
but this
Markel was
this is the
murdered.
day. July. This is
What
the
can you tell
homicide.
us about communication between all of these players that morning?
So again, same summary for the morning of the 18th. We can see communications between our involved subjects here, and we have an indication here this would represent the time that Mr. Markel was murdered between these events, and we can look at these kind of in detail again as we have.
This
Okay.
is the date
And what
of,
do we see as
folks.
far as their communication?
Date of the murder.
So here we have also included the information from Wendy Adelson's forensic extraction, or her Cellbrite report.
Oh, by the way, Wendy had a calendar event that she deleted, folks, called Fix TV. If you're new to this case, fixing the TV was the Adelsons' code for killing Dan Markel, and she deleted it. Again, why are innocent, what innocent people are deleting things? This guilty piece of shit family is deleting things.
So we're able to see other things that were contained in her phone. One of the first things we see is that she had a calendar entry for that day listed as Fix TV.
Now we see that it's deleted.
Yes.
When would that have been deleted?
Sometime prior to our analysis of the handset.
And your analysis of the handset was done that same day?
It was done, yes, the afternoon of the 18th.
Before she gave her phone to the police, that fucking day, she deleted it. Before she gave the phone to the police, that day, she deleted it. Remember, she's like, sure, take my phone. Here's my phone. There's nothing bad there. Weird that she deleted it the day right before she went to the police.
Okay. So this calendar event, Fix TV, was deleted at some point before her phone was taken by law enforcement and looked at that afternoon.
That's correct.
Okay. Go ahead.
Then we see that there is an outbound call from Wendy Adelson to Donna Adelson.
And that's starting at 8:09 in the morning?
That's correct.
Okay.
An immediate return attempt. And then a text message. Again, this is from Wendy Adelson's handset itself, but there is a return text message or a text message from Donna Adelson to Wendy communicating about Best Buy and coming by for the repair of the TVs.
Okay, she says, Best Buy just called me and I told them to confirm with you. They are on their way over now to help you with the TV set in your living room.
Yes.
Okay. All right, what's next?
We have.
By the way, let's just take a step to think this back. Now, I'm pretty sure the warranty was in her parents' names because Wendy's a fucking grown adult baby piece of shit. But Donna Adelson set up the Geek Squad guy to go to Wendy's house, right? When she was setting that up, you know when you set those things up, what do? You give them a phone number of the person to call. Why would they call Donna? Why wouldn't she just have the Geek Squad person call Wendy? Why did Donna have to call Wendy? It's weird. It's almost like Donna set it up. So it looked like she really had to call Wendy to set it up when she could have just had the Geek Squad just call Wendy. But it seems like almost like Donna had to call Wendy for different reasons. I don't know.
They are on their way over now to help you with the TV set in your living room.
Yes.
Okay. All right, what's next?
We have a text from Wendy Adelson to Charlie Adelson stating, "This is so sweet."
We see that that's deleted.
It is, yes.
That would have also been deleted.
Why would you delete that? Why would you delete that, Wendy? Why would you delete that text to Charlie that this is so sweet? Was it so sweet that your stupid TV was getting fixed? Or was it so sweet because your ex-husband was getting murdered? Wendy, you fucking vile, gross piece of shit.
Prior to law enforcement analyzing her cell phone that afternoon, the same day as Dan Markel's murder?
That's correct.
Okay, what's next?
An attempt from Charlie Adelson to call Wendy Adelson. And then a return call from Wendy Adelson to Charlie that lasted just over 18 minutes.
Okay, and what about after that 18-minute call between Charlie Adelson and Wendy Adelson?
Well, this will probably be almost
18-minute call. Between that 18-minute call, man, Wendy calls. You're telling me Wendy's got to talk to Charlie for 18 minutes about her fucking TV getting fixed? 18 minutes? Come on. That would be me doing my closing statement as a prosecutor. Come on. What are we thinking here, people? Huh? Come on. Why is she calling him for 18 minutes there?
minutes.
Okay, and what about after that 18-minute call between Charlie Adelson and Wendy Adelson?
Well, this will probably be almost during that, but there's a 9:38 call, or just after that, from Charlie Adelson to Donna Adelson, an attempt for 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And then at 9:57, again, an outbound from Charlie.
So then Charlie the family has figured out the time. They figured out what's going to happen, and now Charlie starts calling Katie.
Adelson to Miss Magbanowa, 12 seconds. Return call, 9:58, 13 seconds. And again, Mr. Adelson to Miss Magbanowa for 6 minutes and 46 seconds. Charlie Adelson again attempts to call Wendy Adelson at 10:06 a.m. 10:07, 10:08. There's a couple of contacts between Miss Magbanowa and Mr. Adelson, one just over a minute and one about 9 seconds. And then 10:09, Charlie Adelson call to Miss Magbanowa for 5 minutes and 54 seconds. I believe that's all.
All right, so let's just pause this, folks. And this is just the beginning. I'm not done with this presentation. And again, this is not my presentation. I just timestamped stuff that the prosecution has set up. And like I said during the trial, this was one of the most impressive presentations I've seen in a trial for the 8 so months that I've been covering these trials. It was super impressive. and compelling, and clearly it wasn't just to me, because the jury convicted this piece of shit, Charlie Adelson, in about 3 hours and 10 minutes. And there's a lot of moving parts here, guys. There's a lot of moving parts here. So, like, they really had to put this together in a way that's, and these slides to me are like everything. If I'm on a jury and I need to like put the stuff together, the way they did this, it's just, I was super impressed. All right, let's see what my next timestamp is here. Where are we? We're at 8:28, 8:45. Let's see.
Time after that. So
again, his kids off. And
all right, so this is
Premier
just
Health and
showing.
Fitness, where it worked out before returning.
Again, I'm not
back to
showing you
trust
everything
fund.
because they already
can
convicted
you tell us
Charlie.
about Rivera
This is
and
about
Garcia's
Grandma
fantasy
Gotti going
location?
down. That's what I want. Justice for Dan is this whole family going down, in my opinion.
There's some evidence in the iCloud involving messages between Donna Adelson and Charlie Adelson, where she says she is at his house on the evening of July 18th, during a time when Catherine McBanoa is still more consistent with Rivera's house.
Yes,
Okay, can you show us that message?
I can.
All right, this is the night after the murder. Donna is texting Charlie, "Call us ASAP. I'm outside your house. Outside your house." Charlie says, "I'll be out in 10 minutes." They try to make this out in this trial like Charlie and Donna did not meet with each other at the night of the murder. But don't fucking try to fool me, pal. This is Donna bringing the cash to Charlie, bringing that money she washed. That's this. She washed that money. If you didn't hear, Katie testified to the money being moldy. This is the money that Grandma Gotti washed in her washing machine because she thought that laundering money meant actually putting your money in the laundry, because she's a fucking dumb idiot, just like the rest of the dumb Adelsons who are dumb fucking idiots, dumb Corleone. This is when she stops by and gives Charlie the money the night of the murder, because the next day they have to pay the hitmen.
Okay, so Donna Adelson here says, "Call us ASAP" at 7:12 p.m.
Yes,
And then at 8:59 p.m. she says, "Outside your house."
yes.
By the way, it's not all the
And
money.
Charlie Adelson
Some of
says
it's from
10
Charlie.
minutes at
He
9:19.
stapled that, I think.
Correct.
Okay. About 10 minutes from when he sent that text message, so maybe about 9:30 p.m. Is that when he's consistent with being at his house?
Yes,
And according to this message, his mother is already there.
that's correct.
All right. Does Charlie Adelson stay at his house that evening?
He does, yes.
Okay, so the location we saw.
Again, this is going to be more stuff about Charlie, but that piece of shit's already convicted. So let me go to 908. What do I have here?
That first message, looking at maybe October of 2013. Was there a message in mid-October about that?
Oh, I think this is going over the
Horrible
text.
evening for your.
This is going over the text that were in the closing. All right. So that's the day of the murders. Those are all the messages, the days of the murder, the two trips for the hit, the day of the hit. This is all Donna. Donna, and Harvey's in there, and so is Wendy. So what do I want to go to now? I want to go to the bump. Because I want you to let's take a look at the bump again.
Your sister.
So for those who don't know, the whole idea of the bump was because the FBI was pretty sure what was going on, but they weren't sure. They weren't positive, so they wanted to find out what the communication was from Donna after the bump. So hold on, I didn't rewind this. Day 4, 6:47.
bump on afternoon roll.
Okay.
Garcia and then back. It was always going back and forth.
All right, here's when Agent
call.
Sanford explains why.
Bump.
Because we noticed the pattern of calls leading up to the murder and around the time of the murder. The calls were always Donna Adelson to Charlie Adelson to Catherine Magbanwa to Sigfredo Garcia and then back. It was always going back and forth pretty much in that order.
So this is the FBI, the bump, the whole purpose of the bump. The messages are going from they're going from Donna to Charlie to Katie to Sigfredo Garcia. They see the messages. They could see, like, think about it, if you're the FBI, like, you're just looking at pieces of paper before the bump and some of the calls, maybe some of the texts, but you're trying to figure out, they don't know yet, right? They don't know yet. So they're trying to determine with this bump is what is going to happen if we pretend that we're Tato's friend and when we need to be taken care of. What's Donna going to do? That's the whole point of the bump. Where are the messages going to go? Are they going to be similar to where we think they're going to go?
So we wanted to start it on one end and see what would happen. See if it would travel that same line of people.
All right, Judge, at this time I'd like to publish States 105, the bump video.
You may proceed.
Yes, please.
By the way, I have the volume booster. So when we do the calls afterwards, I'm going to bump up the volume so we can actually hear them.
Pause it for just a moment. All right.
There's Grandma Gotti walking out of her apartment complex, or her condo, her house, about to pick up her kids. Guys, Grandma Gotti right now is on her way to pick up her kids from school. Remember that.
That we're in the area watching.
All right, so
Grandkids, I'm sorry. Grandkids. She's going to get her
Yes,
grandkids.
She's exiting the Icon, which is on South Beach, her condominium. That's
Her
the
condo.
stairs coming from her condominium toward the street.
All right, please proceed.
Okay, bud.
And by the way, if you haven't seen this yet, this job by this guy who's supposed to be a Latin king, this FBI agent, to me comes off like more like a used car salesman.
Excuse me, Mrs. Adelson? How you doing? Just want to give you
Let's just take a second here to discuss. Excuse me, Mrs. Adelson, how you doing? Is that how a Latin king is going to come at you? I don't know. I mean, I just don't figure someone who's trying to get money back for Tato is not, hey, Miss Adelson, how you doing? How are the kids?
this. Listen. No, don't be scared. Listen, just want to let you know that we know that your family has been taking care of Katie and her friend Luto for quite some time after your problem up north has been resolved. And I want to let you know that my brother, he's incarcerated. He helped your family with this problem you guys had up north. And we want to make sure that he's going through some rough times. And we want to make sure that you take care of what he's going through, the way you're taking care of Katie and Tuto. Well, this will explain it. Thank you.
All right, let's just all take a step back here, because right now I'm thinking about my wonderful mother, grandma of my kids, on her way to pick up my kids from school. A guy comes up to her and is like, I know what is going on. You need to take care, what he just said. And she's not just like shivering. Like I can't imagine, my mom would be freaking out, I'm sure. any normal grandma who had nothing to do with this would be probably calling the cops immediately. Like 911. Some guy just came up to me, and this could have something to do with my son-in-law who was murdered. Come here now. We need to fix this. We need to find out what's going on. This guy, this big guy, he's right here. He could have something to do with the murder of my son-in-law, my grandkids. I'm going to pick them up. Their father, this man, he could have something to do with it. Come right now. Come to the scene. Is there anyone close? Maybe we can catch him. Not Grandma Gotti. Not Donna Adelson. Not Dom Corleone. Walks and picks up her grandkids at school. Just keeps like it never happened. Like it never happened. Just acting cool and calm like it never happened.
Where does Mrs. Adelson go after the conclusion of the bump?
She goes into the elementary school there, to the door to the right, goes inside and retrieves the children, and then goes back to the icon back across the street.
And are those Wendy and Dan Markel's children?
Yes, they are.
So they're in school just literally less than a block over?
Right across the street from where she lives.
Okay. And when the undercover bumps Mrs. Adelson, do we know if she had a cell phone on her person?
We don't know that.
Okay, but you didn't.
We don't know if she had her cell phone, but of course she fucking did. Who walks around without a cell phone? Come on. Of course she had her cell phone, or back when this happened.
Take one out and make a phone call.
She did not.
All right. When is her first phone call after the bump?
After she goes back into the icon.
Okay. And the undercover references a name, Katie, actually two names, Katie and Tuto. Was there a strategic reason why the name Katie was used?
Yes, there was.
Could you tell us what that was?
Yeah, basically, we believe that the Adelson family had been already in the public limelight because of the bad divorce. We believe they possibly could be.
Let me back you up. Because of a bad divorce, they were in the limelight, or under suspicion for this murder?
Under suspicion for the murder because of the bad divorce.
Okay, I'm with you.
Okay, and then so we felt like Katie couldn't. We felt like Katie's name had to be put in there to let them know that it wasn't a random person just trying to come and extort them. That it had some legitimacy to it because the person actually was in prison. He's the one who did commit the murder, and he was the one that we wanted to portray that he was providing information to other people about the homicide.
And who is the first person that Donna Adelson calls after this bump?
Charlie Adelson.
All right, Judge, at this time I'd ask to introduce 124. This is a wire
Who's
call
the first
summary
person she calls?
that I've created to assist
Not the
jurors in following
police.
along with these wire calls.
Any objection?
Not Harvey, although he was
124
probably
is admitted
there.
at this time.
Not Wendy.
Judge, I've marked one copy for evidence. Would it be permissible to pass out copies?
All
so
right,
everyone
and
can follow
now
along?
this was hard
Please show
to
them
hear.
the-
So let me just see if it's still hard to hear. Wait. I'm going to make this louder, folks, with my volume booster app. All right, so I want to make sure everyone can hear this.
very near future, I need to speak with you.
Okay.
Okay?
Did someone write a letter to you or something?
I've got some paperwork hand delivered to me.
You're being sued?
No, that's what I thought it was, but I'm going to need to talk to you.
Okay.
Okay? So, I mean, I can, I'll have to figure out something. You can tell me that wherever you are.
Well, I'm in Mitch Klein's office on Oakland Park Boulevard.
Okay.
So I'm right now in the Skyline Chili, and I'll be at his office in the afternoon.
Okay. So the boys will finish their piano lesson around 4-ish, and I'll have to track of it, and they take a ride with them up there.
Does Dad know about this?
The dad's at work today, fortunately.
What's
All right, so first, a couple of things. Again, during this whole trial, Grandma Gotti's doing shit like she's talking about piano lessons for the grandkids, like, ugh. And then Dad's at work, but she doesn't call Dad first. Harvey's at work. Why wouldn't she call Harvey immediately and tell him, "Hey, we got to figure out"? She calls Charlie.
IRS?
You know, those IRS people, they're kind of obvious sometimes, but, you know, fortunately not now.
Okay.
So I will talk to you. I'll give you a heads up if I'm going to drive up that way.
All right.
Okay? And
Just let you know that? Is it involved Wendy?
No. So let me just talk to you later.
All right, I'm pausing this because this is about to be, and Joe Jackalone talked about this on one of his videos or during a live. Listen to what she says here, folks. It's so important, and it's why she's going down. All right, just wait till Charlie says, all right.
And
What is it? Is everyone's health okay?
Yeah.
All right. Does it involve me or other people?
Well, probably both of us.
What's that?
Probably the two of us. So you probably have a general idea what I'm talking about.
All right.
Okay, the dumb Corleones. She gets this paperwork. She calls Charlie, and what does she say to Charlie? First of all, Charlie, of course, as always, can't shut the fuck up. He just can't. And he says, who is this about? Is it about who is it about? And and stupid dumb Corleone? All right, does it involve me? Does it involve me or other people? And what does dumb Corleone say? Well, probably the both of us. Why would it involve the both of you? Why would that piece of paper involve the both of them? And then Charlie says, what's that? And Donna says, probably the two of us. So you probably have a general idea what I'm talking about. So what does she mean by that? Why would he have a general idea what she's talking about? Why would Charlie have a general idea what she's talking about? If they weren't involved in this, why would anyone have any idea about what's going on? Why would the two of them?
Does it involve okay?
Yeah.
All right. Does it involve me or other people?
Well, probably both of us.
What's that?
Probably the two of us. So you probably have a general idea what I'm talking about.
All right.
So let's just find some time to talk to.
So that right there is going to be a major problem for Grandma Gotti. Probably she gets that paperwork and she says it's probably about the both of us. You have a general idea what I'm talking about. And then I have one more thing that I have. Oh, no, I think this is it. Let me just see. Oh, I think that's it. day 5? Is this day 5? Wait, I might have one more thing. Oh, all right. So after this, they basically go more into Charlie. So I have one more thing. And guys, what was the FBI trying to figure out? Remember what we talked about? What was the FBI trying to figure out with the bump? Where were the calls going to go? Where were the calls going to go after the bump? And sure enough, where did the calls go? They went from Grandma Gotti, Donna Adelson, to Charlie Adelson, to Katie Magbanua, and eventually to Sigfredo Garcia. This is exactly what the FBI was trying to get, and this is exactly what they got.
Does Donna ever call Catherine Magbanua or the other way around?
Never.
Okay. All right, Judge, at this time I'd ask to publish call F on our exhibit.
You can proceed.
Yeah, I'm going to make this louder so you can hear it.
I'm sitting and watching the boys and their tennis clinic. They have a wonderful time. That's awesome. Yeah, I was concerned because they think they don't even show the private lessons, but they have it fun because, you know, there's 6 kids on the court, so they're all about the same level. They're having fun with that. Great.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's just
So,
good.
how's the other going?
It's good. We're gonna drink coffee with friends. And,
Good.
actually,
By the way, this is the call after Charlie talks to Katie to like make sure everything's okay. This is the call. He calls back his mom.
That is good. Everything, yeah, everything's fun.
yeah, and then just up and around with relationship advice. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, may come by and see me tomorrow, actually, too. Yeah, to go back to work. So I think she's going to come maybe to my office tomorrow or another office at the office. I gave her some good advice.
Yeah.
And she's just sleeping on it.
Okay. Okay.
So
Yeah.
relationships are not easy.
No, they're not. They're not.
So that's good. So everything's fine anyway. It's
No.
without a doubt.
You
It's
just
fine.
don't.
Yeah. No question in the world. I would not.
Trust it.
No, I mean, I can talk to you more about it, but
Yeah.
I mean, if you want, you can always come up to the office. Well, you're gonna be hanging out with Dad tomorrow, right?
Oh yeah, tomorrow. Yeah, what's tomorrow? Tomorrow Thursday, guys. Look, yeah, we're gonna be.
So, I mean, these are really, I mean, there's not a ton here, but ultimately, again, what is the theme here? It's going from Charlie, it's going from Donna to Charlie, to Katie, to Sigfredo, and back. It's just more evidence of why this case, Donna's going down, folks. Donna's going down, and I hope it's sooner rather than later. I heard something, there might be a grand jury this Wednesday, I heard, but what do I know? So that's kind of, I just try to put everything in kind of time order, kind of, and this is just, I'm sure there's a lot more stuff. I'm not an expert on this, like fancy fiction or Katie Cool Lady or Joel. I mean, we've watched this trial. We watched the first 2 trials. We watched this trial. Watching this trial, I just was like, how is this not a trial for Donna Adelson? And man, oh man, I hope justice is coming for her soon. I hope we get justice for Dan Markel. Again, to me, this is everything. All these calls are going to be the ones, these stupid idiots that thought they were above the law. And Donna, you're next, bitch. You are next, bitch. You're next, bitch. You're going down. And then it's going to be Harvey. And then it's going to be Wendy. You're going down. And justice will be when they go down, and then Ruth Markel and Phil Markel can see their grandkids. And that ultimately it's going to be sad that their kids know the truth. This is awful. These pieces of garbage, these manipulative pieces of shit have had Dan's kids. They try to erase him. They took his name. They took his last name. They changed the kids' last names from Markel to the Adelsons. They changed the middle names. They tried to erase Dan Markel from their lives. And now justice is coming. Charlie was first. And now the rest need to go. Donna is next. That jury came back in 3 hours and 10 minutes. This is not an easy... I mean, it's easy for all of us who have seen all of these trials and seen all this evidence. But for a jury that is just seeing all this stuff for the first time, there's a lot to kind of put together. But Georgia, the whole prosecution, whoever put these slides together, just the whole prosecution, they put it together in a way that it shows, in my opinion, Donna's next, bitch. You're going down, bitch. And then it's the rest of your fucking family. And I hope they have more stuff on Wendy. I worry about Wendy. I absolutely think she was involved, and I think she's going down too. And ultimately, I think last is probably Harvey. But I hope if you're new to this case, or if you didn't get to kind of follow the trial the full time, if you were working and stuff was going on, I hope this kind of puts together a picture of why I think that Grandma Gotti, Donna Adelson, is next. So I hope you like this. Again, this is my alt channel, so if you could subscribe, if you already subscribed, if you could share it out, I'd appreciate it. Thank you, everyone who came from my regular channel, which is The Shaming of Jay. If you like this, I live stream during the day. Trials at The Shaming of Jay. You could see me there. So thank you so much for being here, guys. And if you're not in J-Bo Nation, I hope you join J-Bo Nation. And thank you for being part of J-Bo Nation. So take care, everybody. Thank you.
Joining us, J-Bo Nation. Please give all of yourselves an ovation. No, it won't be real long until next time. Oh, J-Bo Nation, there's no place we'd rather be. J-Bo Nation is the place to 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 be.